As I stood before the looming shadow of the abandoned house, an unsettling chill crept down my spine. The place had always been a sinister presence in our small, otherwise peaceful town. Locals whispered tales of its dark history, and the stories had left a mark on my imagination since childhood. Now, as an adult, curiosity had finally drawn me to its decaying doorstep. The setting sun cast long, eerie shadows, and the silence around me was oppressive. Grass choked the once manicured lawn, and windows gaped like empty eye sockets. My footsteps echoed ominously as I pushed open the rusty gate, its groan like a mournful cry. I had never ventured closer than this before, and my heart raced like a stallion. The front door was ajar, and a waft of stale air greeted me as I entered. My flashlight cast uneven, flickering light on cracked walls adorned with faded, peeling wallpaper. A cacophony of creaks and groans accompanied my every step as I ventured further into the abyss. It was then that I heard it. A faint, otherworldly whisper, like the sigh of a tortured soul. Goosebumps prickled my skin as I strained to decipher the words. A shiver ran through me as the voice grew clearer, pleading for release from an eternal torment. Help me. My breath hitched, and I felt a knot form in my stomach. The voice seemed to emanate from the very walls themselves, a ghostly echo of the past. Dread clung to me like a second skin as I continued down the decaying corridor. In one room, I found a collection of old photographs scattered across a rotting table. Faces stared back at me, their eyes hollow and lifeless. It was a family, I surmised. A father, a mother, and a young boy, their smiles masking a sinister undercurrent. The boy's eyes, in particular, sent a chill through me. They seemed devoid of innocence, harboring secrets I dared not fathom. As I explored further, I stumbled upon a diary, its pages brittle and yellowed with age. It belonged to a woman named Margaret, who had lived here many decades ago. Her words painted a grim picture of life in this house, of her growing isolation and the eerie occurrences that plagued her. "Something watches from the shadows," she had written, her handwriting trembling. "Voices in the night, whispers that crawl beneath my skin. I can't bear it any longer." Margaret's final entry sent a shiver down my spine. She spoke of a ritual, a desperate attempt to rid the house of its malevolent presence. She wrote of candles, incantations, and blood. Her words grew erratic, a testament to her deteriorating sanity. Fear gnawed at me, but I couldn't resist the compulsion to continue deeper into the house. The voice continued its haunting plea, each word a desperate cry for salvation. "Help me. Release the curse, I followed the anguished whispers, winding my way through a labyrinthine maze of decrepit rooms. In one, I discovered a blood-stained pentagram etched onto the floor. In another, a shattered mirror reflected fractured images of my terrified face. The voice grew louder, more insistent, leading me to the basement. The steps descended into darkness, and I hesitated, my flashlight's beam faltering. Yet, I pressed on, my curiosity overriding my trepidation. The basement was a damp, oppressive space, thick with the scent of decay. In the center, an old, ornate mirror stood, its glass tarnished with age. The voice reached a fevered pitch, a cacophony of anguish that reverberated in my ears. I approached the mirror, my reflection distorted and grotesque. The voice seemed to emanate from within the glass itself, as if a trapped soul sought release. Trembling, I raised my hand to touch it, and as my fingers brushed the cold surface, the world around me fractured. I was no longer in the basement. Instead, I stood in a room filled with shadows, surrounded by the anguished souls of those who had once lived in this cursed house. They reached out to me, their spectral hands cold and grasping, pulling me into their world of torment. I tried to scream, but no sound escaped my lips as I became one with the wailing, tortured spirits. I felt their pain, their despair, their insatiable hunger for release. In that moment, I understood the true horror of the abandoned house, the darkness that had festered within its walls for generations. And as my own consciousness began to fade, consumed by the relentless agony of the past, I joined the chorus of voices, forever trapped in the nightmarish depths of the cursed house.